Thank you so much for listening to Urbanistica Podcast. I am Mustafa Sherif, an urban planner, and you're more than welcome to join my big journey of exploring the making of smarter and more livable cities. Please don't forget to follow Urbanistica on the different social media platforms, and also let's connect on LinkedIn. Big thanks to Urbanistica podcast partner, AFRY. AFRY is an international engineering and design company providing sustainable solutions in the fields of energy, industry, and infrastructure. Are you ready for a new episode? Let's go for it. Well, hello, and thank you so much for listening to Urbanistica Podcast. I just wanted to say and wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you so much for being part of this podcast and making it come true. I'm so happy because now I'm also celebrating 1 year of Urbanistica Podcast. I'm thinking to share some of interesting numbers with you if you're also interested to listen. So the total time of all the episodes, of all the 160 episodes during 2020, 7,850 minutes, which means 131 hours and around 5.5 days. So if you listen to Urbanistica Podcast episode after episode, you will finish it after 5.5 days. And this is like the total time of the episodes. And if we talk about the production time, actually the time behind the scenes, so it's all around totally almost 1 month of producing these episodes. It's a great experience, amazing time, tough time also, especially in the beginning when I was learning how to do it. And hopefully now, we made it somehow. And if we talk about the youngest guest in the podcast, it was Arvid Boysen. It's a Swedish episode. We talk about cities for kids or smart cities for kids. And he's just 12 years old. The oldest guest in this podcast for 2020 was the great Jan Gale, 84 years old. I just love him. When do the most of listeners listen to the Urbanistica podcast? From 6 to 10 a.m. in the morning. It's almost like when you wake up and going to work or start your work. And then also afternoon from 12 to 6 p.m. It's like lunchtime, after lunch and finishing the day. And actually it makes sense because during the evening everyone wants to chill and so on. And I got so many cool and interesting messages that people say, well, I listen to your podcast only when I wash dishes or when I clean my home. Or there is a person really interesting. He told me that I listen to your podcast when I want to sleep because it makes me sleep well. Then I'd be like, okay, that's great. At least my podcast is doing something good for you. But again, I'm really grateful that you're listening to this. If we talk about the languages that I'm recording this podcast, and I'm talking Arabic because I'm from Iraq, Baghdad. Actually, I didn't record so many episodes because I'm like right now focusing on the Scandinavian and the international market or the listeners. So I speak also Swedish, I record in the Swedish language and also English. So hopefully the new year or 2021 will be more focused on Arabic speakers to invite them to the podcast. It's going to be really interesting. And then if we talk about the gender equality, so in the end of 2020, what I see from the statistics, so I interviewed 90 females and 78 males. So it's not really 50-50. And also 10 of females, not the 90, but other 10s, they didn't reply to my Urbanistica invitation, and some of them were busy, so they didn't have the time to record it. And the 78 males, so there were 4, like plus these 78 males, they couldn't record because of lack of time. So it's interesting, and hopefully for the next year I will improve it. So listeners, the total listeners, after 1 year, so I have 30,000 listeners from 110 countries. It's so beautiful to see. Every day when I wake up, I check the statistic and I see like a new country popping up on the map where the listeners are from. So I'm so happy. Thank you so much again. So, and also feel free to share it to your friends, network, and to all the people that you think they are really interested in this topic. Now let's talk about the top 3 episodes for this year, 2020. The first one, Jan Gehl, talking about smart city. The second one is with David Sim. It's also part of Gehl Architects in Copenhagen. And we were talking about architecture and COVID-19. Actually, this was almost the first digital episode when I recorded digitally. And it was like in the beginning of the pandemic here in Sweden, let's say March, April. I really recommend it to you to listen to it. And then the third one, Mikko Gronholm, it's episode number 2. And we are talking, this was absolutely my first 100% smart city episode. And I'm really in love with it. And Mikko is a great speaker in Helsingborg city in the south of Sweden. So I recommend you to listen to him as well. And about this phrase, when I am telling it in the end of each episode, keep up the good work, keep loving cities. This is actually, it's not me who made it up. It was my colleague, Max Goldstein. He's also an urban planner and designer, a great person. And he told me, hey, Mustafa, what about you telling this in the end of your podcast? Keep up the good work, keep loving cities. And directly after he finished the sentence, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm in love with it. Thank you so much again, Max. I really appreciate it. I love it as well. Talking about collaboration in the last year, in 2020, or it's last year, it's also only 1 year of Urbanistica Podcast. I did 3 collaboration. The first one is with H22, the making of a smarter city in Helsingborg city in the south of Sweden. It's going to be a really interesting expo in 2022. And the podcast is partnering with H22 project, which is about interviewing the city authorities and also the partner like IKEA and many other interesting partners that gonna do something and develop something from 2020 to 2022. And we will follow this journey of the making of a smarter city. I really recommend you to listen to this episode, but also check the homepage h22.sc. So this was the first collaboration and I will continue with them. The second one is Placemaking Europe. Now I'm a placemaking leader, which means that I also will contribute to share the knowledge and the tools of what the great placemakers do. So what I'm gonna do is it's a collaboration between Urbanistica Podcast and the Placemaking Europe Network. And basically it's about me interviewing the great board members, leaders, and talking about different projects that placemakers do. Going to be a really interesting journey, and I recommend you to listen to the episodes, to subscribe for the newsletter, and also be part of our community. Just go to the Facebook group, write Placemaking Europe, and you can be part of it. So this was the second collaboration, H22, and then Placemaking Europe. The third one was with Sveriges Arkitekter, it's the Swedish Association for Architects. And the collaboration was about me interviewing the different sections within this association and talking about what's happening behind the scenes to highlight the great work that have been done behind the scenes to all the architects, like landscape architects, building architects, interior and planners, and you name it. Really interesting collaboration. I get to know very interesting people and also know how everything is being run behind the scenes. I love it. So I'm grateful for these 3 collaboration, H22, Placemaking Europe, and Sveriges Arkitekter. And in the end, I would love to thank the main partner and the sponsor for this podcast, AFRY. I'm in love with the people there. Really great that they sponsor this podcast, and I'm happy with our relationship. So thank you so much again, AFRY. In the end, I'm really grateful because it's all about you. You are part of this journey and you make this dream come true, because I had a dream, and now it's true because of you, because you're listening. If you didn't listen, so it's not gonna be this podcast will not have any impact if people will not listen. So I'm very thankful that you're listening, and hopefully you will enjoy the coming episode. And please feel free, let's connect on LinkedIn and let's talk, do nominations, and give me feedback, follow on Instagram. and let's have fun and enjoy the journey. And let's develop our cities, make it more cities for people, make it more sustainable and smarter cities. Thank you.